Investment advice offered through Stratus Wealth Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor, DBA True North Wealth Partners. The opinions voiced in this material are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. All performance referenced is historical and is no guarantee of future results. True North Wealth Partners and Stratus Wealth Advisors do not make any guarantee or other promise as to the results that may be obtained from this. Investing involves risk, including loss of principal, and no strategy assures success or protects against loss. Vantage Point with True North Wealth Partners is for our clients and those wanting to learn more about what's really going on within the markets and economy, as well as overall financial planning topics.
Hey everybody, welcome to Vantage Point with True North Wealth Partners. I'm Andy.
Eric Susie.
It's Wednesday, October 26th.
Hump Day.
Hump Day 2022.
Yes.
Yeah, episode 28.
Number 28. Wow. Going fast. Fall has come. What a great fall. It's beautiful leaves. It lasted about, 4 weeks, I would say. We had a great long fall. So it's
not long enough. But
but it's been beautiful out.
Yeah.
Doing good, man? Family all right?
Yeah. Yeah, doing pretty good. Yeah, hanging in there.
Good. Oh, I got to tell you real quickly. Yeah. So I coached my girls volleyball. So the season just ended. Got to get this out. So we went 10-2, good season, ended second place. So it was real close for first, but had some good battles. But we'll get them next year. The one team that is our nemesis. We'll get them. Right. Yeah, it was fun. Sophia had a great time.
Did you get ejected or anything like that?
No, but let's just say I got down. I brought the girls in. I built up some character moments. So it was great. And all the parents and grandparents, you're going to come back now. Teach us next year, right? I said, yeah, okay, I'll coach next year. So I got looped in for next year.
Nice.
It was fun. Good experience for the girls and myself. It was fun.
Good. Excellent.
Well, a lot going on still in the markets. How's the economy? What's going on with updates?
Not a ton of new information, I guess. Unemployment's still low.
Yeah.
We're obviously heading into holidays, so travel season. So expected to be pretty. I think I said in line with about 2019 travel.
Good. That's
it's gonna be expensive.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If you're flying somewhere, and of course you got gas prices, and so a lot of spending there. Retail, box, movies, eating out. People are still spending money. I think, even though confidence is kind of tilting down a little bit. So. Yeah.
It's going to be another
onward and upward.
Yeah. Another interesting few quarters, that's for sure. But that's good.
Yeah. The big thing was on the home sales.
How's that going?
So that number just came out.
Oh, okay.
So we got sort of declined, new single family home sales declined 10.9% in September. However, the average price of a new home sold, it was $470,600 in September.
Wow!
So that is a almost 14% increase year over year. The average price of a new home sold, get this, $517,700 average.
Oh gosh!
That's up 10% year over year. So that's probably on the way down.
Yeah, it is, and to that point, I mean, we've seen there's charts I have in here, but the 30-year mortgage rate, so it went over 7% now.
Yeah.
So it just trickled over 7 this past few days. But making up part of the CPI is a shelter, and we've talked about this all year long. And here's just a quick little chart of it. You can see straight up. So shelters, rent, and this housing in general, it's a third of the component for CPI, Consumer Price Index. It's a lagging indicator. It's about 12 months run. So that's why we've been saying CPI has peaked, but it's going to be elevated and sticky for another 2 more quarters at least.
Sure.
So, this has to curl and go back down, and we're still on the upward trajectory for a few more months before it starts to curl and go back down.
Yeah.
So that's part of us. That's a nice little quick visual. I wanted you to see that too.
Yeah, a lot of rents, right?
Oh, yeah, all the rents. Oh, incredible.
Yeah. It's amazing, just all the, even around here, all the apartments and everything. It's like,
and clients of mine, I'll leave the companies out. There's 2 large companies, both here in Ohio. I'll leave it at that. one, his son-in-law got laid off, and the mortgage department underwriter got laid off. They would do X amount, to say, and now they're down to, I think it's 16 a week for
refis.
No, just underwriting mortgages for this one
mortgages.
particular. For this one particular bank, and this other bank, nationwide, they used to do over 1,000 a day nationwide.
Yeah.
This is the what's it called? The part of the underwriting process is they view the comps, the comparisons. So with that, they're doing under 100 a day. It's like 80 to 90 a day now.
Oh, wow.
So they've had 3 layoffs, and there might be one more layoff when I'm hearing through the grapevine between now and the end of the year for this other particular bank. So it's just part of the process. Fed's still going to be raising rates.
Sure.
So we'll talk about the Fed, I guess, now. Just the Fed. Next rate increase, November 2nd, baked into the market, 75 basis points. Fine, okay. Then after that, we'll have the election, 11/8. That's key. Get out and vote. Okay. Stop the madness. Change the way. This is a key election. It's even more important now than it is in 2024, quite frankly. So that's key. And then after November 8th, then there'll be a 12/14, last Fed meeting of the year, 12/14. So again, folks, they're saying 75-75. I'm hoping it's not 75-75. Hopefully it goes 75, maybe 25.
Yeah.
If it just goes down 25 or what have you, that will help kick off the Santa Claus rally, the year-end rally. So because then we're starting to see light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
So we'll see about that. And then after that, the Fed meeting in February is when the next Fed meeting, February 2023.
Yeah.
So we'll see. A lot's going to happen over these next few months, but it's going to be back and forth. Nice little rally we've been in the past few days. Then we're heading into seasonality, so might give up a little bit before we go back. Like I said, the Santa Claus rally between now and end of the year as well.
Nice.
Yeah, it would be great to
get a bump up at the end. Then we got next year.
And then we may have to chase things around again like we've been doing. So a lot of activity will be going on. But what's going on with the I-bonds, or what's the latest?
Yeah.
I think they're about, remember, every 6 months. Yeah. So what's...
Yeah, so I-bonds pay, the payment somewhat tied to inflation, right? So was it not? It was
9.62.
9.62. So they always rotate every. You get in. You have till November 1, right?
Yeah.
So they cut it off. So you want to go to treasurydirect.gov to set up an account. You can put it's $10,000 per person per year. Kind of, if you just view it as a bank account,
Right.
If you have extra cash laying around that you can kind of tie up for, a little bit, you can get some better interest than what you're getting in the bank, and it resets every 6 months. Right. So it's coming down a little bit, 6%
Yeah.
But it's still more than you would get. You're going to get in the bank, even if you have to pay the penalty, which is 2 months, I believe, of interest.
Interest if you bail out. 5 years or whatever.
Yeah. So still not. So if you go into it, hey, even if it's a 12-month hold, I'll pay the penalty. You'll still come out ahead.
Yes.
But we are starting to see bank CD rates.
Yeah, things are going higher. Right. Even our Schwab stuff's higher. So we have
2.14. There was.
Yeah. So
I've seen that in 10 years.
No, exactly. We'll always, we've had clients inquire about that. So yes, please take advantage of the I-bonds, especially if you can get it signed up between now and the end of the November 1st to get the higher rate.
Yeah.
Newer rates can be, I think, technically, well, it's not official yet, but they're talking about 6.47. So roughly 6.47 could be the next 6-month term for the I-bonds. All right. So we hit that. What's going on?
The Social Security.
Oh yeah, Social Security.
Some big news came out recently. Well, we kind of knew it was coming, but didn't know the exact number.
Yeah, so it's official now. So we'll just visualize it this way for you as well, folks. But this is the Social Security COLA cost of living adjustment, 8.7%. So 8.7%. It's the highest in 40 years, what have you. You can just sort of see it going, all across all the years there. Some years were zero. There were no COLAs or cost of living. So good news, bad news. I know coming up at the end, we're going to have Mike Gatteri, our Medicare specialist. So we'll dive deep into that. But there's good parts to that, bad parts to that. When when COLA's that high, okay, it means inflation's roaring high. So
sure,
that's a good news, bad news part of it.
And they have to pay for that.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Right. So,
and with that, I think they're bringing up the
taxable earnings.
Taxable earnings over about 160,000 for 2023. So it's over 8% bump. Just increasing your wage base from 147 basically to 160.
There's your tax increase.
Yeah, there's a tax increase, folks. So no middle income folks are going to get tax increases, but it is what it is. And then just a few other things talking about that. Just some facts. ATC scores. It's sad, but college students and kids. This is the lowest ACT scores in over 30 years, as the average now they just published is 19.8. 19.8 is the composite score out of 36. So 36 is the highest. 19.8 is the 2022 average composite score for ACT. So it's the lowest. It's the first time since 1991 that the average score was below 20. All right. ACT. So
the future looks bright.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
Future looks bright.
Yep. So
I think they're getting rid of. A lot of colleges are even getting rid of.
They are. They need bodies. They just need bodies to show up to class and pay the money. So they don't. They're just waiving everything now.
Okay.
Participation programs. Yeah, just participate. It's okay. So talking about the Debt Relief Act, so part of the IRA, Inflation Reduction Act, or what have you. There's all the loan relief. So we just want to bring it to your attention. Not that we're a big believer in it, but if it is going to hold up and be there for your money, take advantage of it because, all the taxpayers are paying for it. So this is the website. You go to it. You plug in your name, social, date of birth, and hit review, submit. There's income limitations about it. Just be sure you qualify for it. But pretty much, it's on the government website there, U.S. Department of Education. So just be aware of that. We've already had some clients utilize that. Also for some year-end, for the high 529 program, so a great way to take advantage of that. Use gift codes. You can send out my uncle, my aunts and uncle for my families, so they take advantage of that. So the UGIFT, UGIFT 529.com. So UGIFT529.com. That's how you can do that. Take advantage of that for your family members, siblings, instead of all the toys and junkets. Maybe help fund college and things of that nature.
That's right.
Just a few things there. One other thing is the GDP Nowcast. So, with the GDP coming out, the latest, this came out today from the Federal Bank Reserve of Atlanta, is now 3.1%. So it's been trajectory going up. So that's good. But good news is bad news. So that just gives a green light for the Feds. That just means the Fed's going to put the accelerator, keep on raising rates. So again, to bring down the sticky inflation. So, the unemployment, wages and things have been still holding up. So they're trying to bring that down as well as GDP. They're doing it in the housing. They're making their effort and it's being felt in the housing, but they still have other things they're trying to work on. I talked about the cool Social Security, all that good stuff. I guess we'll jump into some charts here.
Yeah, sounds good.
So we'll blow through a few of these and we'll end on tips of the month. So with that, again, I already held this up, but Social Security, it is the largest, 8.7%. That's effective January 1st. Stock market volatility, folks, the VIX, Volatility Index, 30 days going out. It's currently at 28.5. It's been over 30 for about 4 weeks there. So it held in for a while. Again, anything over 20, below 20, any easy money, anybody can make money. Between 20 and 30, it's called the chop bucket, back and forth, back and forth. We just now entered the chop bucket. Coming out of anything greater than 30 is called the F bucket, and you know what that means. So we will be going back into that at some point, but in the meantime, it's going to be 20 to over 30 for the foreseeable future, next couple quarters here. So the average, again, is 18.6, so it is elevated. Stock market pullbacks. Remember, the average is 4.6, going back to 1980. We're up already to 11. So last year was 1. Year before that was 12, which was COVID. So, I believe we're going to tie it, maybe more, between now and the end of the year, as far as a 5% pullback in the S&P. The S&P earnings growth rate, so it's finally coming down, which is good. Still needs to come down even more. The average is 7.9, so we're heading back down towards the historical average. Interest rates, 2-year, 10-year, okay? You can just sort of see how it's the beginning of the year, skyrocket straight up. So the 2-year, 4.42. Again, this was as of October 25th, latest print, but in the 10-year as well, both elevated. So a lot of volatility with that. The yield steepness in the yield curve. So it's the 10-year minus the 2-year when it's an inversion. We've heard us talk about this. Right now, the inversion stands at 0.32. So if there's an inversion, typically there is a recession to follow. And, yes, this bear market possibly turning into a recession is what it is. But these are all leading indicators. And again, the bond market is a leading indicator for the equity market. So it's telling us something. With the bond move index screaming high, you got to listen to it because it means something. Mortgage rates, okay, this was out October 20th, but it did hit over 7%. Again, the average is 5.9 since 1990. From 2008, the average is 4.1. So you can see the beginning of the year is just below 3, so it's more than doubled. So that's why things are coming to a halt. Federal funds rate. So the Fed, again, meetings, we talked about the meetings. They want to keep on raising, and reversed jets, and then got to cut because there'll be some issues ahead next year. So
the economy going again.
Yeah. Federal Reserve balance sheet. Good news on the balance sheet. So remember the 97 trillion, what have you, they're trying to, a billion, a month that they're trying to trim off, let it roll off. So it was 9 trillion. Now it's down to 8.7 trillion. Again, it's as of October 19th. So we're trying to shrink that and let the runoff. So that's part of the reason why you see the yield curve steepen, et cetera, because of that force that's working behind the scenes. The Fed's not there buying all the bonds or letting it roll off and expire, things of that nature. So the multiple things are going on behind the scenes. The labor force participation rates still high. Average is 62.8. Right now, 62.3. It's come up. That's great. But again, there's still a lot of people out there in the JOLTS job opening report. Was over 11 million, now down to 10 million. So that's good. The Fed wants to see that number come down. It's all part of their program and goal to reduce things. Yeah. Components of the CPI. This is a pretty cool sheet. Just walking you through energy. You can see the blue peak little triangles there at the top. So those are the peaks. And then right now in the trough, you can see the little X and the current where we're at. So right now it's at the trough for energy. It's the lowest it's been for this year. And then this is year-over-year change over the past 12 months, peak to trough. So things have definitely come back in. Again, used car prices, that's the other huge peak, over 40% now down. But overall CPI in the black there, again, elevated, et cetera. But these are the components: services, food, new vehicle, used vehicle, core CPI, shelter. Talked about shelter already, medical care, apparel, and medical care commodities as well. So just components of the CPI. And speaking of CPI, again, 8.2 came off the high. It's curled over. Core CPI, still, sticky, elevated, et cetera. Again, core, it excludes food and energy because it's so volatile. That's why they strip that out to give you a more, not as volatile number, but CPI and general inflation encompasses everything. So the Fed likes to use PCE. Okay, the PCE is the official measure that the Fed uses. It's slightly lower than the CPI. Again, they want to bring it down to 2%, and you can see the PCE 6.2, and the core, which excludes food and energy, is down to 4.9. But those two are also going to be elevated and sticky for a while. So I don't think they're going to see 2% by the end of this year. Oil and the U.S. dollar. You can see this is on the right axis. So the dollar has been strong. At the beginning of the year, it was like 93 and just took off. It hit 114. Right now it's around 110, 111 or so right now. So a strong dollar is also hurting the equity markets. Once the dollar breaks down, goes lower, then that will help the equity markets. Also, the S&P 500 companies and the multinational companies that have basically 50% of their earnings coming from abroad. When you have a strong dollar, that hurts their earnings. Sure. So this will change later next year for sure. But the oil, you can see on the going to the left axis on the left side of the page, it's close to 120 there. It's come back down. It's roughly around $85 or so a barrel, give or take, or 86. So that's just the oil and dollar, both key. And then the savings rate, we talked about this in the past. That's the free money. all for those 2 years, government artificially propped up everybody, including the companies. Now we're back to reality. Like we said back in December last year, the party's over. And there's your inflation, your savings rate, historical average 6.6. People are now at 3.5. So, and this is old. This is as of August. So it's even less than that. So, hello, that's what we're saying. And then the stock market bull bear. So yes, we're in that bear market, you can see. But good news, like we talked about before, there's more bulls and it lasts longer than bears. But currently we are in this bear market stance that we're in.
Yep.
So a lot there, folks. But hopefully you can take that in. We're going to end on tips of the month. So, Andy, man, we got Honda.
Yeah.
Doing a EV battery coming. That's good. We need to because... guess what's the number one country who produces batteries?
Number one country, I would say Canada.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good one. Yeah. I don't think Trudeau would like that up there. No. So EV battery manufacturers, this is 2022. This is a cool little chart that's showing it, breaking it out. These are the companies that produce batteries. The companies, but where they are produced is ding, 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 China.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you knew that. So China makes up 56% of the EV battery market, followed by Korean companies are 26%, and followed by Japanese at 10%. So about over 90% of the batteries are those three countries, and it's just a breakout of the countries and what have you. So that was an interesting little stat I came across where the battery. So hopefully we can start making some here in the United States to deleverage and the child labor and all the other things that go on when you're farming it out to countries. With that said, let's get into another tips of the month. So with the Inflation Reduction Act, quote, that was passed, what they're doing now, stock buyback are under attack. This is coming from a report that was produced. And on this, they mentioned, this is a Wall Street, a little chart here. So stock buybacks for first, second, and third quarter of 2023, just been going straight down. But
so what does that mean by stock buyback?
Great question. So just companies can buy back with the extra cash they have to repurchase their stock to help level it out and try to accelerate. If you can remove outstanding shares of stock that's out there, that will help increase the price of the stock. So this is a tool that companies utilize to help give shareholder value and appreciation, stock buybacks. So it has been going down all year, but however, because within the IRA, Inflation Reduction Act, there's a 1% excise tax that's going to be effective on January 1st next year. So this new 1% excise tax on corporate net share repurchases. So it's the buyback tax that aims to penalize companies for engaging in this type of shareholder accretive activity. But, so they're trying to do one thing, but anyway, so we may see a little bit of companies, part of the Santa Claus rally, do a year-end buyback rally before, saving 1%. So it's nothing huge, but it's just something I wanted to point out that we do follow and track. And lastly, so heading into the holiday season, we have, Thanksgiving, Halloween. Oh, and guess what? We're going to be in your neighborhood. So I'll be knocking on your door.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. The suits will be loose. The girls are excited. So their friends, it's the same night. So Pal in Dublin this year is going to be, it's the same night. Okay. So normally like their girl or friends' girls come over in Dublin. It's a different night than Pal. But because it's the same, we're going over there this year. So we're going to be terrorizing your neighborhood.
All right. Come on over.
But with that said, so you get Halloween, then Thanksgiving, and then lovely Christmas. So a client of mine who is now a Santa in his retirement years. This is so true. I couldn't believe it. Came in, dropped this off. He says, Eric, and he was over 30 years as a cop in FBI. So he's
he's a good Santa.
He's a good one. All right. He's a good Santa. Knows his stuff, but great guy. And he loves to bring smiles to people's faces and help all the kiddos. But this is a site you can go to. It's totally free. MySantaReports.com. I signed up. And you put in the promo code right here, and then Nathan, our producer, will put this out so you can see it. but they just log it in, and it's just a site to track to encourage kids to do good. So you can have chores and lists and things. So you climb the summit. So it's a web-based thing. You put in your child's name. So it's good for parents that have young kids, but also for grandparents that have kids, just to engage them in something that good discipline and learning of some things. So I put my daughters in there. One's older, but the other one's still young enough. But but yes, you can do that. Check it out. It's the Climbing the Mountain Summit. It's a little engagement thing, so you can see week to week how you're progressing. It starts November 1st through Christmas, so it's a 4-week thing. Right, yeah. Again, that's the promo code. It is free. Check that out, mysantareports.com. And then he's also he went to Utah. I think it was Utah. He said for a week class for becoming a Santa. Wow. So there's a lady out there who teaches over 800 Santa Clauses that roll up nationwide up to her. Yeah. She's been doing it over 40 years. Wow. And these Santas make good money. I'll just leave it at that. So, man. So you work 2-3 months out of the year. Great little part-time, hobby, what have you. Great. But he looks great. So hopefully I may have to see if I can put a note out to him to maybe swing by in a sleigh, come by our podcast here. Yeah, but that would be fun. But check that out. Something fun for you and your kids and all that good stuff. But I guess we'll pass it over to Mike, right? Yep. That's coming up next.
Yeah, we'll bring him. Yep, that's great. All right. So we're here with Mike Gatteri from Health Markets. And as many of you know, we've used Mike for a number of years as our medical kind of healthcare, Medicare enrollment expert. And he's here today just to share with us some changes with Medicare, right? Open enrollment.
A lot of changes coming up this time of year. Okay,
excellent. And and just to set that up, usually like last year there was a increase in the cost of living adjustment of Social Security, and of course there was an increase also with the Part B premiums, right? So there was kind of an offset there. This year, however, we've got 8.7% COLA, cost of living adjustment with the Social Security benefit. Also, they're increasing the amount of your wages that are being taxed, I guess, in a sense. So $147,000 to $160,000. So that is available would be taxed. So, but however, that kind of goes. The reason I brought that up is that there's usually whenever there's changes with Social Security, there's changes with Medicare as well.
Absolutely. And what's interesting is in years past, there's always been increases to the cost of Medicare. Okay. And they always wait till after the elections to announce them. This year, there's positive changes to everything Medicare-wise. Okay. And they announced it before the elections.
Interesting how that is, right?
It is.
So speaking of that, maybe spend some time talking or, telling everybody about because you'd mentioned earlier some changes to Obamacare.
Yeah.
And then maybe we can tackle that first and then kind of head into Medicare.
Yeah, so huge change this year for anyone who is not on Medicare. Whether you're getting coverage through your employer or not getting it through your employer, this this change to the law is going to impact millions of people. So ultimately what it says is there is something known as the family glitch. And basically what it said is if you were offered employer coverage, you could not get a government subsidy at all, regardless of how much that employer coverage cost you. And so you'd have people where their family of 4 might have $1,000 to $1,500 a month for their premium for their employer health insurance. Well, finally the government stepped up and said that doesn't make any sense. Yeah. So for this year, they're closing that loophole. And anyone who has an employer plan, if your employer plan costs you more than 10% of your household wages, you can opt out of your work plan and go to the marketplace and get subsidies instead. Huh. Okay. So, perfect example, let's say you have a family making $80,000 a year. If the employer plan costs more than $80,000 a year would be $8,000 for the family, right? So if the family's making $80,000, if the health insurance costs more than $8,000 a year, they will be able to opt out of it and go get subsidies through the government. So you'll have many families out there where the employer plan is $500, $1,000, $1,500 a month by the time you add on the spouse and kids. Yeah. These are the people who are impacted by it.
Wow. Okay, so that's just to clarify, that's just the premium cost, right?
The premium cost.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's not out of pocket and deductibles, all that. It's just a premium.
Correct.
Okay.
But yeah, we anticipate that there could be as many as 50% of households who will be eligible for this, and they won't know that they're eligible for it because while the government made the change,
Yeah.
they're not educating anyone. So
Yeah.
we have to get this word out. So if you get your coverage through your employer, do the math. See if it's costing you more than 10% of your household income. Let your friends and family know if their employer plan is costing them more than 10% of their household income, they need to shop it around because it likely will be cheaper to go to the open market and
Okay.
opt out of the work plan.
Interesting. So employers then, I mean, are they under an obligation to tell employees that?
They're not under an obligation to tell them.
Okay.
The
So someone
employer
might
is
not know.
obligated to cover 50% of the employee cost, but they are not obligated to cover anything towards the spouse and kids. And quite honestly, with so many dual income households now, a lot of employers are saying we won't cover the spouse because let your spouse get it through their employer.
Yeah.
But when you have those households where you can't get it through a spouse's employer, these are the people who really have been suffering because they haven't been able to take advantage of it.
Okay, great. All right. So that's something to obviously be mindful of, right?
Absolutely.
Especially we had open enrollment, or a lot this time of year, people making changes to health plans, looking for next year. Interest. So family glitch. My dad called me a family glitch. So is that something different?
That's a little bit different.
Okay. And then the second part of our conversation, obviously Medicare enrollment. We're kind of in the throngs of that, I guess.
Yes, we are in the busy time. It's 70-hour work weeks for me right now.
All right. So what changes can people expect with Medicare?
So first, let's talk about what's happening nationwide because the government changed some rules. With the Inflation Reduction Act, there were some changes that will take effect for 2023. There's also some changes that could take effect for 24 and 25. Let's not talk about those yet because the government has a tendency to change the rules as we go. But what's happening for 23, first, all plans must cover all standardized immunizations at 100%.
Okay.
So while in the past the flu shot and the COVID shot were covered at 100%, now also the shingles shot has to be covered at 100%.
Okay.
And so for many people, they would pay $300, $400, $500 for that shot. It will now be covered at 100% going forward.
Oh, okay.
Furthermore, all plans have to cover insulin at no more than a $35 copay. They also cannot make those insulins subject to a deductible, and they won't put you into the donut hole.
Oh, wow.
Which is huge.
Yeah, that's a big change.
So yes, there will be thousands of people, there'll be millions of people who will save thousands of dollars a year by having all of their insulins be no more than $35 no matter what.
Okay.
So that's what's happening industry-wide. Here in Columbus or in the Ohio market, there are a couple new carriers to the market. I will admit I'm not a big fan of new carriers because they are new. There's no track record.
Sure.
And so these aren't companies that are just new to Columbus. They're new. So
Okay, they're new all around.
Yeah,
all right.
I'm going to watch them cautiously. And a year or two from now, it may be a good fit.
Sure.
One of the things I don't like about the plans that are new is they are not giving large networks of doctors and hospitals. The two new plans, one is a Mount Carmel only plan. One is an OSU only plan. So there's no Cleveland Clinic.
Supposed to be Advantage plans then?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
All right.
So we've got the two new plans that are out there. We also have a number of carriers who have dropped rates. So there's a couple prescription drug carriers who are dropping their rates for the new year.
Wow, great.
And then also, you talked about the COLA adjustment. We're also seeing a reduction in your Part B premium and your Part B deductible.
Wow.
So Part B premium, if you're not paying that high income penalty through
Sure.
IRMA,
Yep.
is going from $170 to $164. So you're getting a whopping $6 a month increase.
That's right.
But hey, that's
we'll take it.
$72 for the year.
That's right.
And then your Part B deductible is going down. It's $233 for this year. It's going down to $228 for next year.
All right.
So a lot of little changes, many of them for the positive.
All right. Well, that's good to hear. So what does someone do? Like they're sitting there, hey, I've got my Medicare, my supplement. Who do I talk to, or what? they just call your office. They can email you, schedule time. They can call us as well.
Yeah,
to schedule time.
Absolutely. Reach out to us. Email is certainly the easiest because we can respond to emails at 11 o'clock at night when we leave the office.
Sure.
Can't respond to phone calls at 11 o'clock at night. We won't do that to you. We won't call you at 11.
Yeah, right.
So email is certainly the easiest, but phone calls are also welcome.
Okay.
The big thing to remember is the deadlines, because you've only got until December 7th to make a change. So we always suggest that everyone at least touches base. If you're a current customer, we've already reached out to you. If you're not a current customer, reach out to us and just make sure you're in the best plan.
Yeah.
Because as the industry changes, as the plans adjust, if you're on different medicines than you were last year, the plan that was right for 22 may not be the plan that's right for 23.
Sure.
So it never hurts to have a brief conversation.
Yeah.
We don't charge for our services.
Okay.
So to
great.
get that review, just to have that peace of mind, is something we always recommend.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah. So you can feel free to reach out to Mike. Feel free to reach out to myself or Eric, and we can put you in touch with Mike. But yeah, it's a great idea just to do a yearly audit of your health insurance, and as you're looking at your benefits for this year, it's definitely worth a look to say, hey, am I getting the best bang for my buck? Am I in the best coverage? Am I is it financially the one that makes the most sense too? So
Yep, absolutely.
So great. Well, thanks for being here, Mike. We would certainly appreciate it and appreciate your partnership.
Thanks so much for having me.
You bet.
Folks, thank you for joining us. Hopefully you found that engagement with Mike Gatteri and his office useful. A lot of our clients utilize him. He's got some good service. His support team now retooled a little more, help him out and get things. They have a class they put you through and all that. So it's really great. So give them a shout out. He'll hold your hand and walk you through it all. So we appreciate you. There's changes still coming between now and the end of the year to your portfolio. So when you see it, you'll know what we're doing. We're working our magic. Again, saving you a lot less this year in pain. So just hang in there. Enjoy the holidays, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
You can reach this episode on our website at mytruenorthwp.com, by other podcast venue sites, or by calling us at 614-929-2715. Also, feel free to share this episode with friends and family and sign up for our weekly email market updates via our website. Special thanks to our producer Nathan, as we will be producing these episodes on a monthly basis. Investment advice offered through Stratus Wealth Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor, DBA True North Wealth Partners. The opinions voiced in this material are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. All performance referenced is historical and is no guarantee of future results. True North Wealth Partners and Stratus Wealth Advisors do not make any guarantee or other promise as to the results that may be obtained from this. Investing involves risk, including loss of principal, and no strategy assures success or protects against loss.